She steps into the grand ballroom of the Evergreen Resort and wishes she hadn't come. Chandeliers pour crystal light on the marble floor. Wealth whispers in careful smiles and quiet nods. Mark's hand rests at the small of her back. Breathe, he murmurs, his calm surgeon's voice steady. We earned our place here. Their 6-year-old, Ben, tugs at his bow tie. Mom, this thing is choking me. She kneels and fixes it with a grin. Just for a little while, buddy. Remember our deal, good behavior now, pool later. The crowd parts and her heart stumbles. The bride turns with a raised glass. The tilt of the head, the quick lean when she laughs. 11 years fall away. Joy, she breathes. Her sister. The champagne flute trembles in her hand, the only sign of the quake inside her. She hadn't recognized David Brooks on the invitation. She thought Joy still used the family name, Cole. Joy's gasp slices the room. Music plays, but a hush grows around them. Their mother pales, then flushes. Their father shifts in front of Joy like a wall. What are you doing here? Mother hisses, loud enough to turn heads. The old shame rises, hot and sharp, but Ada, no longer the girl in the rain, straightens her spine. She is Ada Cole, CEO of Medcare. She won't bend. Mark steps forward before the whispers can swell. My wife is a guest, he says, firm but low. She was invited by the groom. A woman in burgundy squints at Ada's badge. Medcare. Another doctor leans in. That's the company with the smart monitors. That's Ada Cole, the first woman whispers. The CEO. A murmur moves through the cluster of white coats. Joy's smile thins. Their mother and father trade a panicked look. The groom approaches, confusion lining his forehead. You know the CEO of Medcare? He asks Joy's parents, then faces Ada with dawning interest. We've been trying to partner with you for months. Your system is changing recovery after surgery. Ada keeps her face calm. She could make a scene. She could tell him how her parents called her a dropout while they used her college fund for Joy's trips and tuition. She could tear the lie clean open. Instead, she says, Hello, Joy. Congratulations. The quiet lands like thunder. Joy flinches. Ben tugs Ada's sleeve. Mom, is the lady in the white dress your friend? David's eyes sharpen. He looks from Joy to Ada and back again. Joy, he says slowly, I thought you said your sister was. He stops, the unfinished line cracking the air between them. Joy grabs at a story that sounds polished but thin. I manage the family clinic, she says brightly. We've served our town for 30 years. Wonderful, says a silver-haired doctor, nodding, until another doctor frowns. Didn't Stanford move away from that platelet therapy approach 3 years ago? Joy laughs too high. Well, some professors keep older methods. David's arm tightens, then eases from her waist. He is noticing. Mark touches Ada's elbow. We don't have to stay, he murmurs. We do, she answers, soft but clear. Their father arrives like a storm front. Ada, leave, he snaps. You're ruining Joy's day. Mark steps in, polite steel in his tone. Medcare presented the keynote in Boston last month. 27 hospitals use her system. Heads turn. Names click. Ada does not brag. She lets the facts stand. Ben peers up. Can I have cake now? Then, loudly, to David, does Joy go to Stanford like Mom did? Their father blanches. Joy goes still. David looks at Ada. You went to Stanford too. Ada holds his eyes and simply says, Class of 2014. The room inhales. The ground shifts. Praise drifts toward Ada like tide. Your monitors cut readmission by 22%, a cardiologist says. Another adds, our nurses love the alerts. Joy tries to steer the talk back to centerpieces and menus, but the doctors gently return to medicine. David watches, seeing how Joy fumbles at simple terms, how she redirects when the questions get real. Their mother glides in, voice sweet and sharp. Ada always wanted attention, she tells a cluster of guests. She's jealous of Joy's success. Ada keeps her posture quiet and proud. She has learned that dignity is a sword. A bathroom door swings. Minutes later, Ada washes her hands while Joy, hands shaking, jabs at a mascara wand. Their eyes meet in the mirror. Why are you doing this? Joy demands. Doing what? Ada asks, voice even. Ruining my wedding. Making David doubt me. Ada dries her hands slowly. I'm standing here, Joy. That's all. You were supposed to stay gone, Joy whispers, fear finally slipping through the anger. They told everyone you quit. Ada's reply is simple. I finished. Back on the floor, a hospital director presses a card into Ada's hand. Your system cut complications by 30%. We want in. David appears at Ada's shoulder, polite but strained. Their father booms. This is Joy's day. Let's focus on her accomplishments. Silence answers him, heavy and telling. People look from David to Joy, then to Ada. The lie can't breathe. Ada passes her half-empty glass to a server. We've stayed long enough, she says to Mark. Ben brightens. Pool time. Almost, Ada smiles. She takes a small cream envelope from her clutch and finds David near the bar. Joy watches from a distance, smile too stiff to hold. We're leaving, Ada says gently, offering the envelope. Congratulations. David's face softens. Thank you for coming, he says, with meaning. Joy's parents hover like hawks, but David doesn't move. I'd like to visit Medcare, he adds, lower. Professionally. Ada nods. My office will set it up. Mark joins them. What advantages did Ada have? He asks mildly when mother starts a new story. 3 jobs and no tuition. A few guests here. No one argues. Ben whispers. Are those people our family? Ada kneels. They are relatives, she says. Family is different. They walk out without hurry or heat. No dramatic speech, no public fight. Just 3 people moving in quiet agreement. In the mirrored marble, Ada sees a woman who built from nothing and kept building. Behind them, through the doors, David watches with new questions in his eyes. Some weddings begin a life. This one ends an old story. The elevator doors part. Up we go, Ben says, smacking the button, and Ada smiles. Later, city sun pours into Ada's office, tracing long lines across polished concrete. A month has passed. The Boston Memorial proposal lies open, 8 digits of proof that work, not rumors, writes the future. Dr. David Brooks is here, her assistant says on the intercom. Ada's pen stops. Send him in. David enters like a man who didn't sleep. His jacket creases at the elbows. Thank you for seeing me, he says, standing until she points to the chair. Coffee? No. I can't stay long. He tries to begin 3 times and fails. Finally, truth falls out. I spoke to a lawyer about annulment, he says. Everything Joy told me was false. He sits on the edge of the chair, words rushing. She never went to Stanford. She never ran the clinic. She was the receptionist. Ada listens without surprise. Lies go quiet in daylight. I'm sorry, she says, and means it. Your parents made her the face of it, David continues, voice low, while they changed the billing. Outdated codes. Charges for work never done. 4 years. The number lands like a flat hand. 15. Beginning the year you left, he adds. Ada sees rain on a dorm window and a bank balance that didn't add up. She sees a package of beach photos from a trip she never understood. She sets the memory down. What do you want to know? She asks. The truth, he says. I don't want to drag you into this. But when I checked Joy's background, your name appeared in old clinic records, then vanished, 11 years ago. Ada nods. They used my college fund for Joy. When I confronted them, they said I wasn't Stanford material anyway. David winces. Where did you study? Community college, she says, then state. Part-time. 3 jobs. He blinks. 3. Coffee at dawn. Phones at the hospital at night. Call center on weekends. He leans closer, surgeon's mind clicking. And Medcare. Started in our tiny apartment, she says, a small smile at the edges. Mark found me on a break, sketching flow charts in the margins of a textbook. He asked why I thought the intake model was wrong. I told him the real bottleneck was between departments, not at the door. We began building a tool. 7 years later, hospitals call us. Your revenue, he asks, almost afraid of the answer. Just under 400 million last quarter. He exhales, a tiny sound of awe. Outside the glass, traffic hums, steady as a heartbeat. Inside, the past untangles without drama. The clinic is under investigation, he says at last. I sent information anonymously. I couldn't ignore what I found. Ada studies him. What will you do now? File for annulment. Cooperate. Start over. He looks at his hands. I came to apologize for bringing your past into your present. And to ask, do you plan to get involved? It hangs there, heavy and fair. She could press a button and end everything for her parents in a day. Her title would move doors. Her name would speed clocks. She thinks of elderly patients who trust bills they cannot read. She thinks of nurses stretched too thin. She thinks of the girl in the rain with a suitcase and no keys, and the woman in the mirror who never needed their house to build a home. No, she says. I built my life away from them. I plan to keep it that way. Relief loosens his shoulders. He stands. Thank you for seeing me. When he leaves, Ada watches the river of cars 40 floors below. Her phone buzzes. A voicemail from Joy. The third this week. The first begged for money. The second threatened to tell Ben the truth. Ada deletes the third without listening. Mark calls. You sound tired. David came. The clinic is under investigation for Medicare fraud. A pause. Are you okay? Yes. The answer surprises her with its honesty. An email arrives. A request from the investigators for records from the years she answered phones. She stares at the screen. They want me to testify, she tells Mark. What will you do? He asks. She thinks of what numbers do best. Tell the truth without shouting. I'll send copies of the original records I kept, she says. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm proud of you, Mark replies. Another vibration, another voicemail from Joy. Ada doesn't flinch. Ben wants to see the zoo's new tiger cubs, Mark adds, voice warm as a hand on her shoulder. Meet us. On my way. Ada forwards the scans, adds a short note with dates and job titles, and closes the laptop. She doesn't write opinions. She doesn't write pain. She sends facts. The elevator glides. The city smells like summer. At the crosswalk, her phone lights again with Joy's name. Ada pockets it. The world doesn't end. At the zoo gate, Ben bounces in place. Mom. The cubs. Mark's eyes meet hers over their son's head, saying the same quiet thing they have said for years. We choose our life. Later, when the house is still, Ada stands at the window and counts blessings like stars. A boy who laughs, a man who listens, a company that saves lives, and a spine that no longer bends when old storms blow. Tomorrow, she will keep building. Tonight, she lets the day go. 6 months after the wedding, the air around Ada feels lighter, like a tight dress finally unzipped. On a warm Saturday, she kneels in the small garden behind their house, pinching off dry flowers and pressing new seedlings into dark soil. No gowns, no marble floors, just shorts, an old t-shirt, and sun on her shoulders. Ben runs between the raised beds in his superhero cape. Mom, can I water the tomatoes? Start with the peppers, she says, pointing. They are thirsty. Mark steps out with a tray of lemonade, grinning. Reinforcements, he calls. His hands that fix hearts now hand juice to a 6-year-old. Thank you, kind sir, Ben says with a wobbly bow that almost spills everything. Mark's eyes meet Ada's over their son's head. This is the real win. The Davis board approved the monitor system, he says casually, but she hears the pride. That makes 5 hospital chains this year. That's number 5. Ben shouts, counting on his fingers. Mom helps sick people get better fast. Ada laughs. That's the idea. Then the doorbell rings. Mark frowns. Expecting someone. Probably delivery, she says, wiping soil from her fingers. But when he comes back, his face has changed. In his hand, a certified letter. Return address, Joy Colbrooks. The envelope sits on Ada's desk for 17 whole minutes. She finishes looking at quarterly numbers first, because her life keeps moving whether Joy writes or not. Mark leans on the door frame, not pushing. You don't have to open it today, he says. I know. But she does. She slides a finger under the seal. 1 sheet of cream paper, Joy's careful handwriting. Ada reads in silence. The clinic closed last month. Not because of you, because of them. The investigation found fake billing for 15 years. David left. He said he can't build with someone who lies. I was wrong about you. They were wrong. You were never the problem. I was raised to compete with you. I'm sorry. Joy. Ada reads it twice. It is not begging for money. It is not blaming. It is just small honesty. Mark doesn't ask, just waits. Finally he says, "What does she want?" "Nothing," Ada answers, surprised. She just wanted to tell the truth. Mark tilts his head. "So, what will you do?" Ada looks at the letter, then at the Medcare folders stacked on her desk. "Nothing dramatic," she says. "I'm done with dramatic." She turns to her computer and starts typing. Not a speech. Not a long emotional reply. A simple letter on Medcare letterhead. "Joy, thank you for your honesty. I hope you are choosing better this time." Enclosed is an application for an entry-level internship at Medcare's training program. It's not a gift. You'll have to qualify. Ada. She prints it, signs it, slips it into a Medcare envelope with the form. Mark watches her seal it. "You're offering her a door?" he asks. "I'm offering her work," Ada corrects. "I can't give her a past. I can give her a path." She mails it that afternoon with the rest of the company post. No fluttering heart. No trembling hands. No hoping for sister sleepovers. Just a clean, grown woman gesture. "Here's a chance, if you want it." Then she goes back to her life, product calls, hospital demos, bedtime stories, watering peppers with a boy who thinks she can fix the world. Nights are calm now. Her parents don't call. Investigators send updates, she sends documents. She doesn't chase outcomes. Truth is moving on its own. 2 weeks later, at the American Medical Technology Conference in Chicago, Medcare's booth shines like a magnet. Screens show live dashboards. Nurses and doctors crowd around her team. "Your alert system saved a patient in our post-op ward," one administrator says. "We want full rollout." Ada walks the floor in a simple navy dress, badge clipped, queen in her own kingdom. Then, near the education corner, she sees her Joy. No designer gown now, just pale blue scrubs and a neat ponytail, listening hard to a speaker teaching medical coding basics. Joy's shoulders are smaller, her face tired, but her eyes are awake. In her hand, she clutches the Medcare internship form Ada sent. Their gazes meet across the busy hall. No gasps. No hissing mother. No father blocking doors. Just two grown women who finally see each other without all the old noise. Ada gives a small nod. Not forgiveness, not friendship, just acknowledgment. "I saw your letter. I believed you. I offered what I could." Joy nods back, eyes wet but steady. "I will try." Ada doesn't walk over. Some stories don't need to circle back. Some stories just need to stop hurting. That night in her hotel room, Ada finishes the last file for the Cole First-Gen Medical Scholarship, not named for her parents, but for the girl she once was. 20 students with no family support will get full tuition and mentorship next fall. She smiles at the name. She is taking back Cole and making it stand for something better. Her phone buzzes with a photo from Mark, Ben in the garden, watering too much, soaking his sneakers. He says the peppers were extra thirsty, the text reads. Ada laughs out loud, the sound filling the quiet room. On her flight home the next morning, she looks out over the clouds and thinks of Joy in those blue scrubs, starting at the bottom for the first time in her life. She thinks of her parents facing consequences they thought would never reach them. She thinks of David choosing truth over comfort. And she thinks of herself, of the night in the rain with a suitcase, and of this new life with sun, soil, and a boy in a cape. She has learned something simple. Moving forward doesn't always mean hugging the past. Sometimes it just means leaving the door unlocked for whoever wants to walk right. Back home, the season softens. Mornings smell like cut grass and coffee. Ada moves through her days with a rhythm she built herself. School run, leadership calls, product meetings, dinner, homework at the kitchen table. Sometimes the investigators email to say, "Thank you, the documents helped." Sometimes they ask for dates, and she gives dates. She never adds emotion. One evening, while chopping peppers, Mark says, "They might call you to speak in person." Ada wipes her hands. "If they do, I'll tell them what I saw, not what I felt." Mark nods. "Facts are enough." Ben runs in with a drawing. "This is us," he says. "You, Dad, and me. And this," he taps a fourth figure, "is people we help. There are a lot of them, so I drew just one." Ada hugs him, throat tight. "That's perfect." Later, when she's watering the garden, her phone buzzes. An unknown number. She thinks, just for a second, it might be her mother. It isn't. It's the lead investigator, polite and professional. "Ms. Cole, We've concluded the main part of the case. Your records confirmed several key years.
Good, she says.
Will I need to appear?
Unlikely.
Your documentation was clear.
Her chest loosens.
When she hangs up, she stands in the warm yard, hose in hand, and realizes she didn't have to break them.
Truth did it on its own.
A week later, an email arrives from Joy. Not long, not dramatic. Subject, thank you. Body, I started the training.
It's harder than I thought. I can see now how much work you did back then. I'm trying to do the work now. I don't expect anything else.
Ada smiles at the screen.
No guilt, no pulling.
Just a woman finally carrying her own weight.
She replies with one line, good. Keep going.
At dinner, Mark asks, heard from her? She's learning, Ada says, spooning rice onto Ben's plate. That's new for her.
People can change, Mark says. If they want to, Ada adds.
Ben looks up. Who can change? Anybody, she says, tapping his nose, but only if they try.
She doesn't tell him about mothers who lied or fathers who threw daughters out in the rain. She will tell him the parts that teach, not the parts that scar.
After Ben sleeps, she and Mark sit on the porch, night air soft around them.
Do you miss them? He asks quietly.
Ada thinks. I miss what I thought I had, she says. But what I actually have is better.
He slips his hand over hers.
That's because you built it. Autumn brings a speaking invitation. Chicago again, big stage, bigger audience. Tell the story of Medcare, the organizer says. On stage, Ada talks about rural clinics, overworked nurses, patients who go home too soon. She talks about a system that watches after discharge, sends alerts, saves lives.
She does not talk about being thrown out. She does not talk about stolen tuition. That part is not the point.
Afterward, a young woman stops her. My parents don't believe I can do medicine, the girl says.
They say we can't afford it.
Ada smiles. You don't need them to believe first, she says. You need to believe first. Then find people who match that.
She gives her the scholarship link.
Start here. As she leaves the hall, she spots, at the far end of the corridor, a figure in blue, Joy again, this time helping set up laptops for a training booth, wearing a simple badge that says intern.
Their eyes meet. This time, Joy gives a small, almost shy smile.
Not a society smile. A working woman's smile. Ada lifts a hand in a tiny wave.
Joy mirrors it. Then both go back to work. No drama. No audience. Just two sisters finally in honest places. Months keep turning. The scholarship launches.
Emails come from students with stories that sound like hers. My parents can't help. I work nights. I want to build something.
Ada reads every one. Pick these 20, she tells her team.
The hungry ones.
In the garden, she shows Ben how to give each plant space.
Some roots fight if you put them too close, she explains. So you give them room. Like people, he says again, wiser than 6. Like people, she agrees. Her phone dings, a news alert about Vermont family clinic owners under Medicare fraud investigation, doors closed permanently. She reads it once, then locks her phone.
Mark watches her.
You okay? Yes, she says, and this time there is no surprise in the truth. I didn't hit the wall. I just stopped holding it up. That evening, as they cook, Mark says, do you want to call them?
Ada shakes her head. What would I say?
I told you. I already said it, with my life.
He chuckles.
That's the loudest way to say it. On a bright spring afternoon, Ada and Ben plant new seedlings. The sun leans low, painting everything gold. Through the kitchen window, Mark chops vegetables, humming off-key.
Ben pats soil around a tiny plant. Will it grow? He asks.
If we water it, and if it has room, and if the sun shows up, Ada says. So, if we help it and it helps itself.
Exactly. He thinks for a second. Like you? She looks at him.
Like me. She glances toward the street, half expecting a car that never comes, a mother's perfume that never drifts in, a father's voice that no longer scares her.
Nothing.
Only birds, sun, her own yard. She wipes her hands, feeling the steady weight of a life chosen, not inherited. Somewhere in the city, Joy is learning codes, not lies. Somewhere in another state, Their parents are facing what they built. And here, in this small, bright corner, Ada is doing what she always wanted to do, making things work better. She presses one last root into the earth and covers it gently. Some roots you're given. Some you choose. She chose these. And this time, they will grow.